Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Moz House podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Begun, and I'm here with our special guest, Pamella Allen. Hopefully, I said that right.
You
I know
got
I
it.
just asked. Thanks. Perfect. So why don't we just get right into it? So, could you describe your art to the viewers?
Yes. Firstly, thank you so much for having me, Hunter. Um, and my name is Pamella Allen, and I'm a visual artist, and I work in a number of medium. Um, I would say that my work sort of borders the spectrum of uh, representational and the abstract. So I would guess I would consider myself an expressionist. My works are influenced by our human interaction with the natural world around us, and that sort of that mystic that I feel, because I absolutely revere nature and I love people. So the two impact my work greatly. I work from memory, I work from observation, I make drawings, paintings, prints. I work in a number of media, photography, installation, performance work. I am a born artist. I have no other choice. I was born this way.
Hmm.
I've been making since I was little. So, yeah, I would say that my primary medium is the visual, the painting. Um, I work in series of portraits, in series of abstract mandala, in series of mixed media collage works, um, prints, handmade paper making. I really love to incorporate found natural elements into my work. So you'll often find sand and driftwood and um, that I've picked up along my travels. So yeah, I would say I am an expressionist that loves nature and am mystified by our interactions with the natural world around us.
Wow, you do a lot. I just want to
Yeah.
ask about the paper making. How do you do that?
Well, the paper making, I first learned while I was in residency in India, in Delhi, from another artist, Eric Broom, who's out in Australia, this wild Australian cat. I think he's half British and half Aboriginal from um, near the coast of Brisbane, is where his family's from. And while we were both in residency there, he was making paper and he was just taking paper, shredding it up, putting it in a bucket, and and then we got to talking about the history of paper making, and that really sparked my interest. That was, I don't know, maybe like over 15 years ago or something like that. And so I started to incorporate it in my practice and just really self-taught in terms of the paper making, just studying different traditional practices and who makes paper and how, and and began to sort of play with pulp and began to sculpt with the pulp, and sort of incorporating molds that I'd made, from little sculpted pieces, little clay sculpted pieces, um, incorporating it with my printmaking, uh, and really, now I'm going to be moving a little more into making these more immersive, larger sculptural pieces, because I'm about to learn sort of the fundamentals of spraying the paper around
Oh,
sort of larger structures. It's so cool. Yeah, paper making is the coolest. I also teach it in my teaching arts practice. Kids love it.
yeah, that sounds really cool. See,
Yeah,
it's like the original way to make paper is everything. The original way to make everything is always very interesting, especially how everything's so machine made now. It's very different than it used to be.
absolutely. I'm actually going to do a paper making class at Boys and Girls Club of the Shinnecock Nation as they move into the after school once school kicks in. We
Oh,
already have
really?
the supply, so yeah, you should come and join the class.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
So, how did you find Ma's house?
Um, I was with a gallery, gosh, a year ago, 2 years ago, a year, maybe a year and a half ago, um, and she blasted it out to everybody, and she's very active online. So that's where I found it. I found it on Instagram,
Oh, cool.
and once I saw that call, this was October.
Hmm.
I was just like, oh yeah, I'm going to apply for this because I'd been going out there for many years. I have a dear old friend that's lived out there, raised her sons out there. So I know, I just, there's a magic there for me, and there's something vibrant there, always has been. But I never knew anybody from Shinnecock. And so, um, I immediately wanted to apply. I immediately wanted to apply. Um, and being Jamaican and always sort of diving into my own African heritage and indigenous heritage, and my always curiosity and always incorporation of um, I don't they have been called creation myths. I don't like that. Creation stories from, first people from around the world.
Hmm.
The chance to get to know people of Shinnecock and to get to learn firsthand, okay, not from some tired old history book, but firsthand, the real history from the people. Oh man, I mean, yeah, I applied in a heartbeat. And luckily and thankfully, I was accepted and I only spent a week. And it was my first time out of the city after COVID, right? Because this was,
Oh.
I think things were just starting to open up. Maybe it was like the third time things were starting to try to open up. Um, and so it was, I live in Crown Heights. I'm sitting here in my teeny weeny little apartment in Crown Heights, like, surrounded by paintings and my fuzzy animals and just not bugging. I was okay. I got COVID and all that stuff, but it was just my first time out. And what a gift, what a gift, because I just spent, you know, every sort of as much as time as I could outside, under
Yeah,
the
finally
trees
had a
making
chance to.
art.
Yeah, we were happy to have you.
Oh, it was amazing. It was just, wow. It was healing. It was learning. I was accepted. I was just accepted into a beautiful community. Everybody that I encountered was so warm. Just, who is this strange person? I'm like, hi, I'm a stranger. Like, all in your business. Oh yeah, it was just wonderful. And every time I go back, I try to come as much as I can. Um, and every time I go back, it's the same. And it's so fantastic to get to see new art every time I come back and meet a new artist. And, you know,
Hmm. Yeah, even
um,
my art's in there nowadays, so you always
hello.
see something new. Yeah, my art looks
Hello.
very different than everyone else's. Everyone else's looks so amazing,
Well,
and then
your
there's
work is
mine.
amazing. No, no, your work is amazing. I mean, it's just, but also it's we evolve, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
looking at my work now that I have up on the wall, that this new series of portraits that I'm doing, and oof, it's art making is hard work, Hunter. You know this.
It is. It is.
It's hard.
And I really like to try other mediums. I'm a
Yes.
video artist, and once I get like a piece of paper and go to paint, which I really enjoy, I just am not. I mean, I would call myself not very good at it, but I really like it, and I feel like I can now. I'm just starting to be able to get what's in my mind onto the paper and actually, or onto the canvas. When back like a couple years ago, I could not. So definitely improving, but not where I would like to be.
Never,
Um,
but you're never where you'd like to be. That's the thing. You know, that's
True.
that's. I'm sorry. Did I just ruin the ending?
No, as I've talked to more and more artists, everyone says that. And they're just like, yeah, it's always I always want to be here, but I'm here. And then and
Yeah,
yet they're so good. It's amazing what they we're our own biggest critics. Like every artist
exactly,
really is.
exactly. That's the bigger point, and it's always it's in the process. That's where it happens. That's where all the good stuff happens. That's why I like sharing process because um, as you're doing, you're evolving.
Mm-hmm.
because you're always using prior knowledge. And that's what I like to share as I teach, because there are no mistakes. There's only exploration. When I came out to do my residency there, the intention was, I'm going to do some works on paper. I'm going to do some nature studies. I always need to incorporate um, plant life into my work, because there's always leaves and flowers and this and that. So I always need that sort of a library of illustrations to, refer back to when I'm layering in paintings, because I do a lot of layering. And I just said, oh, I'll just go and I'll draw. And I did that. And I, got some great studies. And then just taking a walk up the path every day, up and down the path every day. It was like, okay, I think I'll just, draw a mandala in the ground and draw a circle here. Here's a center. And then, you know, then that piece that I created, what the trees gave me with the shells, the walking labyrinth mandala, that's how that was born. It wasn't really,
Mm.
I was just sort of letting myself go. So I always encourage everyone who is about process, no matter what it is, if it's a creative process, right? Not if you're being a doctor, don't be, don't be, but if you're approaching a drawing, or if you're approaching something you're writing, or a movement, something you're dancing, or a piece of music you're playing, just allow yourself the space to experiment, and understand that things that you might perceive as mistakes can be stored up and you can move forward. Don't eliminate them. Just put
Mm.
them to the side,
Yeah,
and
the
keep
oh,
going.
sorry. The mistakes part means a lot to me because, well, especially when I'm working with other artists and
Mm,
either filming for like a video for them, and they have one of the skills you have to acquire as like someone who works kind of like commission. Like have to give people what they want,
mm-hmm,
and it's just trying to figure out how to give these people what they want. Sometimes you run into, often you have to do new things you never done before,
mm-hmm.
and in that process you make mistakes and there's oftentimes I will discover something, be like, oh, I can use this now for the next person,
You're
which
like, oh, that
is
was
really how I
cool.
get better. Yeah, it's really
It's
how I
like,
get better
yeah, yeah,
every time. Just collaboration is like exponentially better than just working on my own ideas, because then on my own ideas I kind of like, oh, I know how to do this. I'm not going to come up with a new technique myself, but when someone wants something and I'm like, okay, I'll try to figure out how to do that, then I do, and now I have a whole new thing in my arsenal. So that's how I get better.
exactly, exactly, exactly. I mean, and for the video work, I mean, I'm just sort of using Power Director to edit together some process stuff that I'm trying to take when I remember, or when I remember to hit play before I paint,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I have to please no one. And just doing that, like, it's I because I that's not my medium, right? This is something I'm learning
Mm-hmm.
on a program. It's like you it's almost like it's mathematical. It's like reading notes for music, doing video work. So you're combining the visual, the mathematical, the the
The audio.
the audio, the sound. You're creating mood. It's a whole thing. It's amazing
Yeah.
what you do. I mean, it's deep. I
Yeah.
can only, like I said, I'm just going to do this little clip so that I can post it and show process, and,
Mm-hmm.
keep a record for myself. And that's like hard. So I don't even know how you do it to please someone. That's
It's
deep.
it's so I the problem with like having to please someone for their own video is sometimes I don't like the video I've made, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know, this isn't any good, and I send to them, and they're like, this is exactly what I wanted, and that's a
And they
really
love
great
it.
feeling, and they love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, that's wonderful. I was not expecting that, and that's usually what happens. Um, what was your favorite moment at Ma's house during your residency? Honestly, you've been back a
Hmm.
few times to Shinnecock, so you could say any favorite moment. Doesn't have to be mid residency.
Ah, I gotta tell you, I think was my favorite moment was when it was like any of the first or second days. My favorite moment was the first time I took a walk down the path. I think it was I first arrived. Maybe I have a few favorite moments, but yeah, I guess there would have to be just walking down the path and listening to the trees. It was a little bit windy, clouds are moving, light was playing, it would sort of get overcast and then, like a blast of light. It was October, so it was like the fern, it was still leafy, but things were just starting to change, little hints
Mm-hmm.
of yellow and red on the ground from the leaves. Ground was sort of moist. It was, yeah, I think that was my favorite moment because it was my first moment where I felt like um, grounded.
Oh. Hmm.
The earth and the all of the energy, all of the ancestors, all of the root trees, all of the soil, all of the ocean, everything. I just felt grounded.
Hmm.
And then then I was okay. Now I can sort of move
One
forward.
thing, yeah, one thing about Shinnecock is you can really perceive more while you're in nature here. I feel
Mm,
like because everything is so quiet most of the time, and it gives you just the opportunity to, I guess, pay attention to things you weren't before, like the sound of the trees. Necessarily, you probably try to listen to the trees so often, but if I ever bring like a friend, they're over here, they definitely
mm.
notice that things are so much quieter, and they can just hear more, not necessarily like feel much more
It,
connected to their surroundings rather than constantly bombarded with
yes,
distractment.
yes. I mean, it seems amplified there. I mean, I've been all over the world. I've been to some really magical places. Uh, but there's something. I
Hmm.
don't know what you got over there, dude, but there's something there, y'all
Yeah.
got. That's yeah, it's very amplifying. It's very clear. It's very I don't know. I haven't found it yet. I haven't found the words yet, but clear and amplifying. Those are two
Hmm.
good ones. Grounding. Yeah. So a moment of grounding, a much needed moment of grounding. That
Yeah.
was my favorite, and it set me up for all the wonderful amazingness afterwards. You know.
Awesome. Okay, so out of all your art forms, I mean, this might be a little redundant to ask because I think I would know what you're going to say, but what is your favorite medium that you do use?
Hmm. Well, my first medium was painting. I mean, everything. I guess probably the painting because that's where I can layer it all in together.
Hmm.
Um, Everything is an aid to that, to creating a mixed media painting, I guess, um, or the memory sketch, which is the
Hmm.
first thing I do. I do work from life. I can work from life, but I really like to work from memory because then it's, how like a camera captures something for
Mm-hmm.
a split second, and
Yes.
then what it captures is pat, right? But then in that, like, if you get a video, a 1 second, 2 seconds of video footage, you can break that down and turn that into a million paintings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are always recording. We utilize, our we use our eyes, and then we're storing it into memory.
Hmm.
And so the memory sketch allows me to do that.
That's very interesting. I've never really thought about using my like that. I am constantly recording my eyes and my ears
Hmm.
for memory. Well, that's pretty amazing to think about. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, because you can, if you really needed to, if you really wanted to, you can sit down after this interview is over and then, think about something great that happened the day before and get a picture in your mind, and there it is.
Yeah,
Right?
there it is.
Sort of, you can recall it, you can see it in in that moment, whatever moment you captured. So that is, it's we're hardwired to do that. So I figured I'd tap into that, and it's fun. It's fun. It allows me to sort of create these jagged lines and whatnot
Hmm.
in my portraiture.
So I have a question about your processes, your art making
Mm-hmm.
processes. How do they change while you're on residency versus when you're at home in your own studio?
In residency, I have I go with an intention, right? I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
changed, but it opened. It didn't change. But uh, in my studio, which is I just have everything here. So I'm working on mandalas that I'm creating out of a series of paintings that I'm creating out of some prints over there, and some handmade paperwork hanging over there, some driftwood pieces that you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I got this, there's a lot going on. So I can move between all of these things. But in residency, because you're there for a particular time, and you do have to outline what it is that you're going to do there before you go, you know, you have those thoughts in your mind about, okay, well, what would I do in this space? You know, the residency dictates, because I work in so many medium, the residency uh, dictates, right? So to keep it simple, short residency, you know, let's carry on with my journalistic art books. It's, you know, do some live drawings, do some works on paper, and then it turned into that, you know, some painting a little bit, some writing a little bit, and some earthworks. And I'm still editing video from that time. I mean, there's a portrait that I'm making of Brianna now that I shot
Really? Wow.
um, of while I was in residency. I asked her, because I was like, "What's that pole?" And she told me what she did. And I was like, "Let me see." So she gave me her time for like, it was hard work, and she was
Yeah.
working for like 20 minutes. She sort of, you know, showed, you know, did her thing on the pole, talked about the different moves and what they are, and I was trying to get a particular image. So she needed to hold, she needed to sort of hold this crazy upside down pose that I needed, that I really
Wow.
wanted, that she did. Like she flipped, and I was like, oh, I want that. And she's like, okay. So, and finally I'm getting to the painting, which is so much fun to do. So I really appreciate her doing that workout, because
Mm-hmm.
it's some hard work. Some serious upper body strength was needed
Yeah.
for that. So
Truly. Truly is.
seriously, like,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I'm still doing work inspired by, created at. I mean, I'm still. There's the shell pieces that are there. I mean, I started them. A component of the shell pieces that are hanging there, I started before the residency, and then while I was in residency, and then I created some pieces, incorporating the shells, and so I'm continuing with that. I'm working on a installation that I guess I'm going to show in Detroit. I don't know if I'm going to have it ready in time, but it's like the earthwork. It's like what the trees gave me, but I'm casting it in paper
Oh,
with
cool.
the shells that I found, which has taken me a long time because whatever technicals. Um, but yeah, so it's that my time in residency at Mom's House is still impacting my practice. Absolutely. Heck yeah. I mean, it was a real gathering for me. It was really just, let me drink it up. I know I only have a week here. I mean, Brianna and Jeremy are like, aren't you going to like soak it in? I'm like, I'm soaking,
Yeah.
getting to
Soaking it
work.
all.
I only have a week, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, I got to, its end. I'm still working with uh, the Boys and Girls Club of the Shinnecock Nation doing workshops. I just did one last Saturday, where we did, uh, I did portraits, photo portraits of everyone, and well, over the course of a few family fun days, and you know, with the help of some of the kids, they were there was too much of for them to do for them to make art with
Mm-hmm.
me the whole time. All right,
Yeah.
but with the help of some of the kids, we made a mandala, a community portrait mandala.
Oh,
You'll see it when you go there.
yeah, that's
Still needs
awesome.
work.
We all
So
really
yeah,
appreciate
there's
you coming back and helping out the Boys and Girls Club. Honestly,
it's fun.
anything like that is always very much appreciated by everyone. Um,
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, the community is so wonderful, and you know what Diashua is doing there. She's doing some good work there. She's working hard.
yeah.
You
Um,
know, so she's bringing all kinds of great programming.
by the way, are you going to the powwow this year?
I think I am, and I'm also going to be coming out next week with Sarah Cameron Sund to do. I think she's going to do like she does the 36.5, the durational performance with the sea, where she stands um, on coastlines around the world for one full
Oh,
tidal cycle. Sort of the
yes.
tide goes up to her neck and back down, but she's I think she's going to do a half a tidal cycle on the 21st, I believe, of August. So I'll be coming out. There'll be a few of us coming out. I think we're going to stay at Watermill. Um, and she's going to do a few test stands. I don't know where. I think Jeremy said where, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Um,
That's on my calendar. Actually, I think my mom had mentioned it to me that she thought that was really cool and wanted to watch.
yes, 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 yes. We talked about it at the alumni show. Congratulations on the alumni show. I think that's just great.
It is really
Congratulations to
exciting.
everyone on the first year. Congratulations. Yay, you guys.
Round of applause to all the alumni. Honestly, I've been talking to all the alumni, and it's been because I have missed some of them, but for a lot of them, I've been there and gotten to talk to some of the artists. But this is more of an in-depth conversation, and it's really interesting getting to learn about everyone, and you really see why they were picked to come and show off their work at Moss House because everyone's been pretty amazing so far.
Yeah, it's a really incredible, incredible creative ecosystem
Mm-hmm.
that's going on there. It really is. It's such a blessing.
Yeah,
Um, it's there's some amazing folks out there doing some incredible things,
they
you
really
know.
are. So I have a question about so have you lived in New York all your life?
I've been based in New York all my life. Yeah, I was born in Jamaica and then emigrated here when I was 5, and have been based in New York all my life. But lived lots of places, traveled lots, but always New York
Hmm,
as base.
that's pretty cool. I have been to Jamaica, and
Mm.
my favorite story about that, as I've told it before on air, but since you are from Jamaica, I'll tell it
Yes, I am.
again. I had gotten in all in one trip. I got sun poisoning, and my dad broke his ankle. Hmm.
Where'd you go? Montego Bay?
Yes, we went to Montego Bay. It was vacation, and I was like, "This is awesome, so cool." I was very young. I was like, "This is great," and then by day 2, I was in the room for the rest of the vacation, basically.
Oh man.
And then the one day that I was like, you know what, I'm feeling good enough to go outside. I was like, I'll play some basketball, and my dad, I like took a basketball from whoever, like the little, they had like this shack area that you'd like go in and be like, oh, can I borrow a basketball? So I got that, and I guess my dad saw me from afar and he ran up behind me, took the ball, and started dribbling backwards, and then instantly broke his ankle. Um, like it was, it was very. I mean, looking back, it's hilarious. Just that moment, because some random people like ran up to him and were like, "Oh, you're gonna be okay. This happens to me every day." And I was like, "You do not break your ankle every day." Um,
Yeah, Jamaicans are famous for walking it off. They're like, walk it off. I'm
yeah,
like, excuse me, I'm 3 years old. I'm
yeah,
not going to walk it off.
yeah,
I broke my ankle. I can't walk.
yeah. He, I just remember he had these two different sized crutches, trying to maneuver on those. Although it was still a very fun vacation for me.
That would be called, well, Jamaicans would call those bandulu crutches because
Daily crutches.
not a military issue.
I mean, the good part about that, the ankle break was the lines in the airport were so bad. I just remember walking in like, oh my god, I can't feel my face, and now I have to stand on this
Oh,
line for 8 hours in the
my
heat.
God.
But since my dad had his broken ankle in the weird crutches, um, they said, you know, you guys can just go on ahead. Looks like you've been through enough. So they put him in a wheelchair and wheeled him around the airport. Um, so that was a plus. That was in the end. That was the there was some good to
Your
the
father
injuries.
was like, I am never coming
Yeah,
back to this island again.
we
Oh
went
my
back. We
God.
did go back. We had to try again because of how horrible it went that time. But this time, the next time, I had been hydrating. I started drinking like a ton of water before, like a month before I went. Um, just get my
And you got to wear sunblock, man.
yeah.
That
I
sun is no joke.
Yeah, I was wearing. I mean, now. So before I went to Jamaica, I didn't really have to wear much sunblock. But now I need to wear sunblock on my face. Doesn't take long for. It's like a permanent. I'll get burned quickly on my face where I got the sun poisoning. So I
Yeah,
just
no,
had
no, no,
to.
no, no. That's yeah, you can't mess around with that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you think just because you might be black or brown that you can't burn? Oh no,
Oh yeah,
skin is
you can
skin, my
burn.
friend,
Yeah,
and sun is strong. Oh well, I'm glad you had a better time the
next
next
time
time around.
I got
I'm
a.
sorry.
Uh, at this point, I look back and laugh on it. But the not, I won't say this part is funny, but so there was like this river in that gate, not a river, but they gave everyone these pool floaties, like those rings, those pool donuts.
Hmm.
And I wasn't thinking, but I was just laying in the thing in one of those like all day. So I was getting the sun from the sky, and then it was reflecting off the water back onto my face. So
Oh,
it's
so
just
you just basically sizzled.
yeah, I just sizzled on there for hours, and then I remember I
Wow.
woke up in the middle of the night, looked in the mirror, like I look a little weird right now. Yeah,
Oh, poor thing.
I love Jamaica though. I hope to go back one day.
And you know what? It's that good of an island.
Yeah,
Okay. It's that amazing.
yeah.
I love Jamaica. It's really magical. It's another one of those places for me in the
Hmm.
world. It's like, wow, this is something. There's something happening under. There's something here.
Hmm. Agreed. And honestly, from those trips now, reggae is in my top three music genres. Fine, for
Oh, I got to
sure.
link you up with my brothers. They have the ultimate collection
Do they?
from, oh my God, from, I don't know, probably before the 60s on. I mean, they just know, they have the arcology.
Wow.
I
Hmm.
know the history of reggae music. It's
Hmm.
amazing. It's a rich history. It is
Yeah.
a rich and intense history.
Yeah. Okay. So now is the time for me to ask you the question that I've asked all the other alumni. A little more on the fun
Hmm.
side. So I have gotten mixed answers so far. Do you believe in ghosts and spirits? And if you do you have a paranormal experience that you would like to share?
Oh, of course. I mean, I couldn't. You have to. My work is all about that stuff. It's about the mystic of nature, and those are all. I mean, look, I believe rocks are sentient beings.
Hmm.
So, um, it probably goes beyond believing in ghosts and spirits.
Hmm.
Like I had a discussion with a Buddhist, and they were like, "Rocks aren't sentient." I'm like, "They're made of minerals. Minerals are made of stardust. We're gases. It's all sentient. It's all the same stuff.
Hmm.
It's just all put together differently." And what was it? Do I believe in ghosts? And have I had any kind of mystic experiences?
Yes.
Um, all the time. Every time I paint, every time I write,
Oh.
all the time. Every time I see a shaft of light, every time I look at a plant, it's all a mystic experience.
Hmm.
So
I I
yes,
have
yes, yes, and yes.
I have a movie you might enjoy. Came out recently. It's called Everything Everywhere All at Once, I believe.
Oh, there you go.
And there is a part where some of the characters become rocks and they're sentient beings, and it's just that's
Hmm.
like their that's like the the climax of the movie is them just basically being rocks. And I thought that was very interesting. I was watching. I was like, and they just weren't. They're just sitting there as rocks talking. I was like, wow, this is very interesting, and that reminded me of that.
Yeah, I mean, really, like rocks have been here since before everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what have they been doing here this whole time?
Yeah,
Just sitting there?
yeah,
Like my whole, I
yeah,
don't
just sitting
know.
there.
I just,
I mean, now I feel kind of bad for them because when I was younger, I always wanted to see what was inside the rock I found. So I would like try to break them open and see the crystals. So there's some. So to those rocks, I do apologize if you could feel that. Um,
I don't think they mind it
I
so
don't think so.
much. Yeah, it must be like a little tickle for them or something.
Mm,
Like like if the intention, now this isn't true. I don't know, maybe that isn't the right phraseology. A curious child, the rock don't
the
mind,
rock doesn't mind.
you know.
I just wanted to
It's like,
unlock its
oh,
inner beauty and see what was on the
yeah,
inside.
you were engaging with the rock like it was like it was real.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. That's
I
a
don't
good
think
way to
that's a
put it.
bad thing.
That's very interesting. Never really thought
Mm.
about it that way. Hmm.
You were curious about the rock. You're like, oh, what's in there?
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the podcast, but I have one more question, and then you'll have the opportunity to plug all your social media. I guess two more questions actually. Where do you see your art taking you, and what was your? I guess you've been an artist your whole life, so once you
Mhm.
decide to set an intention of what you want, kind of artist you want to be, what did that look like back when you did that?
I wanted to be successful in that. Um, I could make art and I could sell art to people who loved it. And I could feed myself and clothe myself and, get a little home and get a patch of green and live. Um, and all of those things that I do in the in between, the community interaction with the arts and all of that, that's just me making certain that I honor uh, what I am, how I came in. Um, the Where I see my art taking me is still there. I'm still trying to get there um, in this capitalist society and this corporatized art market. Um, the idea is always to be prolific as an artist. That's just gonna happen. I can't help it. It could be a psychopathy that's manifesting itself in this way,
Mm-hmm.
an obsession. It could be. Um, I don't know, but this is everything that I do. My life is all about making art, sharing the process of art, um, making art with community, making art with myself, making art with other people in community, interacting with the world as an artist, as a curious human being, always drinking everything in and then reinterpreting it on canvas, on, in through all the different media. What I see, what do I see? I see myself in more collections, in more homes, in more museum collections, in private collections. I see myself, um, I mean, I would love to get a little property and have a residency and have a community, you know, well, what I would call the art garden,
Hmm.
um, all funded from my art, all funded from sales of my art. Um, I understand that to make a successful business, to be an entrepreneur, it takes time and resilience. And so, to be a prolific creative and then to be a prolific uh, business person as as a unit, right?
Hmm.
Not as separate entities, but in this one body.
Hmm.
um, yeah, and just keeping my head, dog, because it's crazy out here. You know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the future is bright, and there are lots of good things, lots of good projects. um, happening. And so I'm thankful. And I do, uh, yeah, sales, baby, art
Art
sales.
sales. So this is our final question. Um, it's kind of open ended. Do you have any questions for me?
Hmm. I do, but what do you mean?
Um, you can, I mean, basically ask anything you want. It doesn't have to be about necessarily about art or anything. Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. Oh, all right. So why did you want to do this podcast? That's a question. I have lots. Always have lots of
Hmm.
questions. I just needed to narrow down to one.
Okay. So I thought this podcast would be a good way to um, almost make it like a audio library for of all the artists at Ma's house. So if anyone ever missed someone's show or they learned about you guys later and like, oh man, they were right here, I could have went and saw them, this would be a good chance for them to come and listen to the podcast and hear, learn more about the actual artist. I feel like a lot of the times people just see the art and they don't really, it gives, they don't really know what it means. They have a perspective only to them. But then once they learn more about the artist, it gives them much more, gives the art more meaning and a new
Mm,
perspective that of what the artist really means. At least because for me, I feel like when people see my art, they don't always understand, which is fine.
yeah.
Um, but when someone understands my intentions, I feel like they get a greater overall picture of what I'm trying to do. And
Mm-hmm.
furthermore, another reason is just I kind of had this vision of like a nice show that we make in the future. So I'm trying to build up so that we can get like sponsors,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have like a nice studio, people in person, like cameras, um,
Mm-hmm.
even be on. I mean, I really want to go into like film and TV, so this could be like a segue into maybe now there's like I wouldn't want to really do a talk show, but a podcast is basically a talk show, just no cameras. Um, but my
Daytime
yeah,
TV.
but the next show would be like more fun. Maybe like surrounded with like there's a few activities in there too with the guests.
Mm-hmm.
Um, more comedy. That's kind of like my why I started this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think
Uh-huh.
although I love making art, I think there's an art form in making people laugh, and that's probably my best art form somehow. Um, the art of comedy. Although I don't get to, I need to start going to like open mic nights and really getting better at it. But this is also a good way to become good at things like
So
that.
what do you what's your act?
My act. So I actually last night when I was driving home came up with a kind of a new idea that probably wouldn't be part of the podcast, but it's kind of like a Moz House sponsored um, skit show. And my first skit idea is, you know how in the old cowboy movies they have those standoffs and they like walk away and they turn around and shoot people. They shoot each other. I
Uh-huh.
kind of had the idea, but with cameras. So it's like in my head, I have Jeremy as one of the cowboys. He's like the sheriff. Someone walks into Ma's house, and Jeremy, they like some sort of interaction happens, and Jeremy goes, "I'm like the sheriff of this town." Blah blah blah. He has his camera on his hip or whatever, and so does the other person. So they have like a cowboy standoff where they do that thing, and they quickly take a picture of each other, and the other um, actor like falls down and the flashes both went off for both of them. But you see their little screen on, you know how digital cameras have that screen so you can see the picture.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
screen flashed
Uh-huh.
for a second and they like missed Jeremy's head by a little bit. They took a picture of the tree,
Ah!
and then you look at
It's a
Jeremy's,
bad
yeah, and
picture.
you look at Jeremy's and it's like a perfect picture of their forehead. So, and but the person's still alive. They're just talking. They're like, and then Jeremy like walks over and goes, "How do you like a professional headshot or something like that?" Um, so
I'm
yeah,
laughing.
hopefully people will like it. That's
I mean, I could hear the with that
yeah, exactly.
like that
Hmm.
whistle, tumbleweed rolling.
Yeah. So I would like to do maybe even have some of the artist residents be part of those type of skits because I feel like that could be fun too. Um, one day, but first I need to make the first one, and I have to bring the idea to Jeremy. I just came up with that idea last night. Haven't really told him
That's
yet, but I
funny.
think that could be fun.
I think that'd be
Hmm.
hysterical.
Thank you. Well, now I guess I have to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, who knew? Comedy, huh?
Hmm.
That's intriguing. My nephew is interested in comedy as well, but I've never seen any of his stuff. But apparently, he writes
Oh, he's been
comedy.
keeping his secret. I mean, it's hard because like some people don't think it's funny, but it's funny to you, and it's really finding the sweet spot. Um, so sometimes I make
So,
myself laugh, and then I look around. Everyone else is just like, Hunter, why would you say that?" It's like, "Oh, that's a joke. Sorry, guys. Um, didn't know. Didn't know that no one would understand."
yeah, but maybe maybe an audience
Yes,
would get it.
exactly.
Maybe, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like people who know you. I mean, I guess some comedians, people who know them, think some of the stuff they do is funny, but I don't think the people that know them think they're funny all the
Yeah,
time,
true, true.
you know? So keep on doing your thing. I love comedy. I love
Hmm.
laughing.
Us,
So I think it's a
yeah.
gift.
One of my, I mean, inspiration for me to do things is like music, and then but something that I would want to do of like that level. Like Dave Chappelle says a lot of things he shouldn't say. I think at his height,
Mm,
having his own show, everything like that he's done is kind of inspires me for like what I want to do like in his wakes, like to have a show, have all these fans and make all these people laugh. Definitely not the same way, but I
mm-hmm.
think it's a good seeing that it can be done for the future.
Yeah, I think it's a good
Hmm.
desire, right? Like I think after some time, I don't know. I mean, I don't know him very well. I don't know him at all, actually, very well. I don't know him at all. But um,
He gets in trouble a
yeah,
lot.
I like comedy. Yeah, I mean, I don't like mean
Hmm.
comedy. I mean, sometimes it could be mean. I like obnoxious comedy, silly
Hmm.
comedy, smart comedy. Um, but comedians are just humans,
Hmm.
right?
They are.
Can't be funny all the
Yeah,
time.
true. True. And I want to do like storytelling comedy. I feel like that would be fun. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I love one of my favorite, probably my favorite comedy skit, bit of storytelling is Richard Pryor when he plays. I think his name is Mudbone,
hmm.
and he's like he plays this old man. He's telling a story about his friend that got. You have to check it out. It's like a 7 minute. I think just if you Google Richard Pryor Mudbone, it's brilliant. It's you're just laughing the entire way through, and he's telling a story.
I'll definitely check that
Nobody's
out.
being insulted. It's funny. I mean, it's there's some whacked out characters he's describing, but it's just so funny. Like I've been watching it my whole life. I'll probably go and watch it again because it's just so
I have
funny.
to check that out then. Okay.
And it's just a beautiful piece of art.
Hmm.
It really is. He goes into this character and he tells his story, and
Hmm.
yeah, check
I
it out.
will.
It's masterful. It's a master class, actually.
Wow. Okay, so we've reached the end of the podcast, but before we go, I'd like to give you the opportunity to plug your social medias, your website, your store, endorse anything you want to endorse. Could even be a friend's Etsy shop. Those it's fine. So this is your time to tell our listeners anything you want.
Well, let's see. My website is www.pamelaallen.com. It's www.pamellallen.com. You can get me on Insta, same name. Allen dot Pamella, Allen dot Pamella. Facebook, same way. Got some shows coming up. My gallery in Detroit, Blackbird Gallery. Actually, I'm currently showing there in the Fisher Building. And in September, end of September, she's going to move. Gallery will move into its newly renovated space, and there'll be a big, massive show. So I'm going to go down for that and meet the community there, and probably also do some sort of workshop with the kiddies in the gallery. Um, we talked a little bit earlier about Sarah Cameron Sun, 36.5, a durational performance with the sea. I'll do some sort of earthwork depending on where Sarah does the title stand. I don't know where, but the where will determine the type of timepiece earthwork that I'll do. Probably some sort of circular mandala piece while Sarah is in her stand, and I might stand with her, and I think some other members of the community are going to go and do the title stand. I think that'll be for 6 hours, 21st of August. On the 7th of September, I have a solo show at St. Joseph's College Gallery in Brooklyn. It's called Red, Blue, and Gold. It'll be a series of mixed media paintings and perhaps works on paper in red, blue, and gold. And there's some other things happening. Oh, yes. Jeremy recommended me to join this incredible project called Swept Away, a love letter to a surrogate. That's sort of a bi-coastal collaboration between artists where we're having a creative discussion about our relationship with the natural world in terms of ecology, right? In terms of responsibility. It's basically a series of temporary installations and performances that will take place at the water's edge. It's a project that's concerned with the global ramifications of climate change as considered through the oceans that connect our continents. So, the interest is in promoting public awareness of climate conditions expressed through a focus on the health and well-being of the oceans. So it will be a love letter to the earth and to future generations. And so that is in conjunction with Guildhall. And I'm not sure which weekend I will be doing my piece, but it's going to be a series of 4 weekends, 4 groups of artists, I believe. The 10th, the 17th, 24th of September, and then the 1st of October. And that will be my year anniversary for Ma's house.
Yeah, wow.
Because I know, was it the 7th? 7th? No, was it the 1st? It was either, I have to check the date, but it will be the beginning of October. So that's some of what's happening. If I've forgotten anything, I'm sorry to whoever I've forgotten it for. Oh, and I'm working on a new series of portraits of people I know, which is sort of ongoing. The last group of portraits I did like that was maybe like 20 years ago with intention. So I might be grabbing your image. Haha.
Really? Oh, that'd be cool.
Yes. So yeah, I'm trying to do as many as I can because I'm getting old, and you never know. Tomorrow's never promised. So if I get a whole lot of portraits in, then I'll at least check that off of my list.
Those are but busy schedule ahead of you. I'm excited to see you. Hopefully I get to see you at the Tide performance. I'm excited to see
Yeah,
that.
you're because I missed you at the um
The alumni show.
opening, the alumni
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
But yes, you have it in this schedule for what, the 21st?
Yes, at 10 a.m. I believe. I mean, that
Oh,
probably subject to change whenever the tide is. Honestly, whenever that happens, that happens. Can't really.
yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But maybe we should even just try. We're going to be staying at Watermill, so we can maybe all just try to Maybe we'll try to organize just a get together of everybody.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be nice when we first get there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This has been a great. Um, yeah. Well, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful conversation. I can't wait to see you
Yeah.
in a couple weeks. What,
Yeah.
next week is it already? No, 2 weeks.
Like 11
17th?
days. Wait. Yeah, the 21st. 11 days. I'm
Yeah.
excited for it too.
Wow,
Um,
11 days. Oh my gosh, it's that closer than I thought. Okay, yes, I'll see you then.
yeah, I'll see you then.
Yay.
All right. Thank you for everyone for listening. It's been another episode of the Moss House Podcast. Catch you guys next time.